Hello, fellow YouTubers out there. Tony Sparrow here at the official Warren, Ed and Lorraine Warren channel. Now, I want you to take a look at this dinosaur-type creature here. And it was from a case in Brookfield, Connecticut, 1980. The Devil Made Me Do It case, the Brookfield Demon Murder case. There's a book out, of course, that was co-authored by Lorraine and Ed and transcribed to Gerald Brittle. The Devil in Connecticut. It's very hard to find now because it's been out of print for so long, but you may be able to get a copy on eBay or some other online place. I'm not sure. But the story of this is the story of David Glatzel, age 11, young man in Brookfield, Connecticut. Now, why am I showing you the dinosaur? Well, that's one of the artifacts we have from the house. Now, some of you may recall that Zach Bagans bought the rocking chair from the family, and he did. He didn't buy it from Debbie and Arnie, the main people. He bought it from Carl Glatzel Jr. But in any event, this is the story quickly of the demon murder case, The Devil Made Me Do It. A young man named Arnie Johnson, it's called Cheyenne Johnson, he's part Indian. People call him Shy. And he was 18 at the time, and he was dating Debbie Glatzel, the sister of David Glatzel. Now, Debbie and Arnie were deeply in love, still are today, in fact. And Arnie, as being a guy from the streets, he was a guy from the streets in Bridgeport, but a very kind man, very gentle, actually, person. But also, he was like Ed Warren in a way. He's kind of rough, tough. Brought up on the streets of Bridgeport. He knew how to fight, and he exercised, he worked out, he got strong. But he was a very, very nice young man. And he lived with the Johnsons, with Carl Johnson, and I'm sorry, the Glatzels. He lived with the Glatzel family. And Arnie Johnson loved Debbie very much, like I said. Well, David started to have problems with evil, diabolical entities. They attacked the weak, remember. David was 11 years old. He was the weakest one. And the demonic always looks for an opening. Remember that. They don't go after the strong people. They don't go after the tough guys, really. They can try. And sometimes they do. Sometimes they do get through. Even to people who are of deep faith. But they normally would go for the weak type of a person, mentally or physically, or both, or emotionally, or spiritually. Give you an analogy. Say you're walking down the street and you see, you don't see this, but you're walking down the street and there's Mike Tyson walking down the street. And then on the other side of the street is an old lady, 85 years old, frail, walking with a purse. Then two thugs come out of a side alleyway, and they're going to mug somebody for money because they're in dire need of drug money. Who are they going to attack? Mike Tyson or the old lady? Of course, the old lady, the weak one. And that's the devil. Remember, the devil, ladies and gentlemen, is a liar. Is a disgusting creature, disgusting spirit. They lie, they cheat. All their whole being wants you destroyed. Remember that. Anything made in God's image, they want you destroyed. So they look for that opening, that weakness. So what did they do? They went to David Glatzel. And when they went to David Glatzel, a lot of things happened. One thing in particular that happened, besides David coming under possession and actually becoming super strong at 11 years old, levitating. Besides that, he had built this plastic dinosaur. And one day, in front of Ed Warren, Lorraine Warren, and the family, this dinosaur actually crawled across the carpeting. I know it's hard to believe. A lot of you guys are saying it's a bunch of bunk, but it's not. You don't believe it until you see it. I know. Crawled across the carpet, and a voice emanated from around this creature and said, "You are all going to die." And it was very, very frightening for the family to endure this kind of things that happened. The beast, they call it an entity, the beast, where a hand would come up through the bathtub water through the floor. Just crazy things that I'm not going to get into right this second. I just want to show you the dinosaur in the museum. But Arnie, who saw the pain and suffering and torment that this young 11-year-old boy was going through, made a drastic and very bad mistake. I don't blame him for what he did, but he made a mistake by doing it. He said, when this was happening, in the throes of this thing with David, he's getting thrown around, punched and everything by an invisible force, Arnie jumps up and says, "Hey, come to me. Come to a man. Don't pick on a kid." I'm paraphrasing, of course. Don't pick on a kid. If you want to bother anybody, try bothering me. Nothing happened to Arnie at that point. Nothing at all at that moment. But the devil comes when it wants to, not when you want it to. It doesn't have to listen to a human being. So what happened? Well, one day Arnie was outside, and Debbie was outside talking to Mr. Bono, who was the kennel owner of a place that Debbie Glotzel worked for. That was her boss, Bono. Somehow, some way, Arnie got into an argument with this Bono, and as he describes it, he was standing there, and the next thing he remembers was he was in custody. He blacked out. But what we believe and actually know happened was that the devil, for those few moments, found the opening in Arnie when he had the weak moment and overcame and took over Arnie's body, and Arnie subsequently stabbed Bono in killing him. Now, Ed Warren stepped in, Lorraine Warren stepped in. They knew that it was the devil's work, and they hired a lawyer, Martin Manella. You can read all about this in the book, and you can see it in the upcoming movie, The Conjuring 3. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be about this case, The Devil Made Me Do It case, The Conjuring 3, which will be released September 11th, 2020. And the lawyer said, "Look, I got a lot of evidence here. I think we can beat this thing and prove that the devil overcame Arnie, overtook him, possessed him momentarily, and caused that destruction of an individual." But unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, when they got into the courtroom, the judge didn't want to hear it. The judge was like, "Nope, you're not going to use a devil defense in my court," and threw it out. So they had to go to more conventional means of defense. And ultimately, Arnie was convicted of manslaughter and spent several years in prison. But Arnie got out, and Arnie was determined to make a success of his life, which he did. He struggled for a little while, working various jobs, but then he is now a supervisor at a construction company, supervising hundreds of men. Very, very good job. And he is still married to Debbie. And guess what? They're still madly in love. The devil couldn't break them up, that's for sure. This whole event is tragic, but there was a successful outcome, and the outcome was that Arnie got his life back, and he stayed with Debbie. The movie The Conjuring 3 will be based on this case of this dinosaur that's involved in the case. The Devil Made Me Do It. The book is The Devil in Connecticut. Now, guys, if you like this kind of video, I wish you'd hit the like button, and I wish you'd subscribe to the channel, because there's a lot more stuff I'm going to come up with. I have hours and hours of videotape, hundreds of hours of videotapes and cassette tapes, audio recordings that Ed made on various cases. But I have to sift through them. I have to go through and see what's appropriate to put up on YouTube. And I can't encroach on people's privacy. So if there's names and dates and things in there that are on the audio, and if I don't have a way of blocking it out, I'm not going to put it up. But I'm going to go through a lot of tapes, video and audio, to see what's there. Ed and Lorraine had a rich history of investigating the paranormal. But remember that they started in the early 50s. Back then, there weren't any, videotapes, and there weren't any high-tech, high-resolution video and audio. Ed started out with a measly open reel recorder that he used to walk around with, carry it with him a big Akai reel-to-reel recorder, which I still have today. Then he went to cassette recorders, and that was the last thing Ed used were cassette recorders before he fell ill. And so there are VHS tapes that he did start to use in the early 90s, but that's about it from the early 90s to 2001 when he fell ill. But what I can find out, and it's appropriate, I'll put it up. So I wish you would like and subscribe, and I'll give you a real quick view of the museum again. And it's dark in here, but I got a light on the dinosaur. But here's a quick view of the museum. And you can see some things that are blinking in the background. There's the satanic idol. And that's the shadow doll. And over here, of course, is Annabelle, which everybody wants to see. Annabelle. Maybe I can flick a light on. I don't know. Let me go over here. I don't know if I can get the light on. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna go on to Annabelle too much because I've already done a short thing on Annabelle already. But here's the white lady. But I'll be coming with more videos, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you enjoy this. For now, I'm Tony Spera signing off, and thank you very much for watching.